First off, rest in peace, neighborhood nip. I ain't crip, but I'm on that neighborhood shoot. Building business, it's that black owned. If you hustle, better hustle till your pack gone. If you work, better work till your back hurt. And if you rap, make it better than your last verse. Yeah, more lyrics.
AJ, El Presidente, Eddie Kane University. Hill gon' heal, regardless. You, Buchanan, Bethel High School, by way of 3-Man Weave, LLC.
Michelle, producer, based over here.
You can catch this wave from the Marlins to the Mariners. Doing things you can't believe. It's the 3-Man Weave.
Ooh, man. This is everybody's worst nightmare. Flying solo tonight. And guess what? You know, we're going to have some fun. We're going to see what we can do. We're going to see what force hold us down. We're going to get in here. We're going to give us some breakdowns. And we're going to get out of here, man. You know, give you that straight breakdown that we do here at the 3-Man Weave with your least favorite guy, AJ. Always flying solo, apparently. You know, I've done the most solo episodes out of anybody on the 3-Man Weave, but it's all right, though. I think they don't like me for real. I think it's because they trying to, you know, kick me out. And they say, hey, he can't hold it down. But they know I can hold it down. It's like, nah, them my guys, man. You know, we always gonna hold each other down. Cannon has some prior engagements. Hill, he coming back from vacation. And I'm late because, you know, I had to make sure my baby boy got to bed. And, you know, I couldn't just let him, you know, wander and be all on his lonesome. So I was on daddy duties. Cannon on you know, prior engagement, and Hill on husband duty. So, you know, but I am here. I am AJ. I am the one, the only sexual chocolate. It's like, nah. But you can find us on all of your social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, 3-Man Weave _. You can find us on YouTube. Search 3-Man Weave. If you're here, you probably already found us. 3-Man Weave podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe and that thumbs up button. If you're here by accident, stick around. We about to have some fun. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please, 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 please. If you're new here, drop a comment and say, hey, you know, this is my first time. I'm a first timer. And we definitely make sure we shout you out. Make sure you email us any questions or anything that you want to know about, hear us discuss. Anything at podcast.3.man.weave@gmail.com. And also, that email address is extremely, extremely important because that email address also is how you can order the merch. We told y'all last week, you know, we broke out the special announcement that, hey, 3-Man Weave merch is here. 3-Man Weave merch is official. We got it. You know what I mean? We got all your needs. I will put the price breakdown into the group chat again this episode. So stay tuned for that. I think that's it. I think that's my intro. Sorry for the pregnant pause and the dead air. That's very terrible radio. But we gonna just start out, man. Hey, I think we talked about it before, but hey, they gave that boy Tory. They gave that boy 10 years. And they gave him 10 years. And it's been a very, very contentious time on Twitter. I think that's the right word, contentious. I think so. I think that's the right one. A lot of people been having some things to say about it. A lot of people think that was unjust. A lot of people like good riddance, you short shit. And hey, I'm of the belief if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. He got 10 years. He got what he deserved. And people say, hey, he didn't deserve it. But what I will say is you have to understand, you got to know your personnel. You got to know your circumstances. And his circumstances did not allow for him to even have a gun, let alone discharge a gun, and then be accused of discharging that firearm in the vicinity of another human being. So when you think of like, and I think this is the nuance that a lot of people are failing to realize. A lot of people are just like, oh, the gun residue, this and that, or whatever. This no, like he was most likely gonna get 10 years just having the gun anyway, because you are not an American citizen. So everybody knows you don't want to get locked up in a country that you don't live at. It's the same thing that they said in other movies. Hey, you don't want to get locked up in Mexico. You don't want to get locked up in Mexico. Canada, we don't never hear shit about Canada. Canada got great health care. Everybody just living all kumbaya, everything. Don't come down here acting a fool. This ain't what you want. They make example out of y'all. Us. We. You dig what I'm saying? Hey, who knows, you might get out on some good behavior, do a couple performances, make some people laugh, do some singing, do some quarantine radio. You might get some time knocked off. But guess what? Yeah, going back to Canada right after that. So see you later. Enjoy your time, dog. Them hair plugs and the veneers. I don't know how that upkeep gonna look when you get out, but hope you had a good savings plan and didn't really blow your money, because you might need some cosmetics done after. Shout out to the guy Ryan. He pulled up. He said he was going to pull up to hear that NFC South breakdown, but he also says 3 to 10 years wasn't it. My guess he'll be out in like 6. Yeah, Tory Lane, he was sentenced to 10, but somebody else actually was sentenced 3 to 10. And that was Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs was sentenced 3 to 10 years in jail for his, I guess we don't even need to say alleged, his reckless driving, I believe. I should I should do some good, journalism and reporting and actually look up the actual things that he was charged with and the time that he's getting. I do know it's 3 to 10, but ain't nobody here to stop me. The rest of the 3-man weave ain't here, so I'm gonna say what the hell I got to say. And we gonna run it how we normally run this when AJ run the show and I'm flying solo. Hey, he was speeding, he was doing some dumb shit that he wasn't supposed to do, and the worst case scenario happened. The worst case scenario was he killed a woman and her dog. And yes, okay, I won't even go there. But yes, he killed a woman and her dog, and he got 3 to 10 years. And just like Tory, some people, was like, "Damn, that's it." Like how he get the same amount of time that Tory got when he actually killed someone and stuff like that. But you also just have to take things into account, take certain laws into account. Tory willingly was in possession of a firearm and he shouldn't have been. Henry Ruggs, although he was speeding, this was his first offense. It can be considered accidental. So he, got 3 to 10. So yes, unfortunately, that's just how, the justice system works. And also the judge in Tory sentencing says a lot of Tory's, you know, actions from the time that he was brought up on these charges played a factor into that. Like sometimes you just got to shut the hell up, and Tory didn't shut the hell up, and he was already out there beating up on August Alsina. And sometimes, hey, you want to play that tough guy role, you get put in that tough guy position. But Henry Ruggs, he got 3 to 10. We'll see what happens with Henry Ruggs. I still imagine that his NFL career is over. I just wish that young man. I hope he learns from his mistakes, and I hope that a lot of other young prominent people in similar positions learn from his mistakes as well. It don't matter. A couple seconds, a minute can ruin your life. Don't ruin your life trying to be cool. Don't ruin your life trying to impress people. Don't ruin your life trying to just do some immature shit just for the thrill. You gotta always be in a position to think mature. And take those irrational thoughts out. You got to erase those irrational thoughts. That's what I wanted to say. Let's let's think rationally. Let's take things into account. And I know it's very hard to do when you're in your 20s and you're a millionaire. Hell shit, I've done some dumb shit in my 20s and I wasn't a millionaire. But you're bearing a different responsibility now, you know? And that's just what it comes down to. So I wish him the best, and I hope that he's able to come to terms with the the situ the choices that he made, and I hope that also he can possibly find some forgiveness from the family. But let's get into this shit, man. My guy Ryan pulled up, so we gonna get right to it. We gonna get right into this NFC South, and this might be the hardest division to give a breakdown on because every single thing in this division is an unknown. Like we truly don't know who is going to do what, who is going to finish where. The teams that finished, you know, first place last year can finish last place this year, and it's just goodness gracious, like what are we doing here, NFC South? But so where we'll start is, well, we'll start just like we normally start with any other division. We'll start with the last place team. And so just to go ahead, kick it off, we'll start with the Falcons. And the Falcons, they, as we talked about with quarterback and Marcus Mariota, he's no longer the guy. They brought in Taylor Heineke, and right now they're trying to give Desmond Ridder every opportunity to start. And to me, that's where really all of my questions start. Is Desmond Ridder ready to seize his opportunity? When he came in, to start to end the season, those final four starts, I mean, it was really nothing to ride home about. He had a 500 record, but in those four games, he had, I think, a 63% completion percentage and two passing touchdowns. And he seemed very conservative. And that says a lot because that offense with Marcus Mariota was extremely conservative. So I think if Desmond Ridder is willing to take a step, I think it will do wonders for this team because we know this team is going to run the football. On offense, they're going to run the football. They drafted Bijan Robinson to even take that a step further. So you have Bijan Robinson, you have Cordell Patterson, you have Tyler Algier. Desmond Ridder is mobile, but I don't think he's necessarily the runner that Mariota is and was. So we'll see how that plays into it. And Desmond Ridder also, he's going to play a big part in what the hell is going to happen with Kyle Pitts, man. Like, if they can't get Kyle Pitts involved in this offense, that will be like, I don't even know if I want to call, like, I can't call Kyle Pitts a bust because he's not even being utilized. And to me, that will be a giant waste of a pick for the Atlanta Falcons, for someone who had so much ability, someone who is in one of those, monster unicorn type, frames where he's some huge, ginormous human being who can also run like the freaking wind. So it's crazy to me that they have those big bodies in Drake London and Kyle Pitts and cannot find a way to utilize them. To me, if you're able to run as effectively as you did last year and utilize Kyle Pitts and Drake London, this offense can be something. And in that division, you don't honestly don't have to be a complete team. Like, like Ryan said, it's arguably the worst division in the league. And I mean, top to bottom, I may have to agree because at least, in some of the other divisions that we may talk about later, at least you feel like, damn, it's at least one team where you could be like, that's the favorite. I don't even know who the favorite is right now. But just to finish off with the Falcons really quickly, um, I actually liked when they brought in Jeff Okuda to, play alongside AJ Terrell, possibly, and some of the other, carryovers that they had at corner, that they brought in 2022. And then Jeff Okuda, he goes down at camp. But we did get some optimistic news from Arthur Smith, said he should be, available early in the season. So we'll see. I've been in that position where Zach Taylor said, hey, AJ Green will be out 3 to 5 weeks, and then he'll be good. Oh, AJ Green will be back in, another 3 weeks, another 6 weeks. Oh, we'll play it by ear. And then he missed the whole damn season, basically. So I think a lot of coaches learn from like Zach Taylor's mistakes, and hey, we just gonna play it by ear. So I need to see what they do with that, that corner alongside AJ Terrell, because if they can do that and have some semblance of a pass rush, hey, this team might be able to be the one that steps up and takes the AFC South. If all of those things happen, because once again, like I said, this shit is ugly. And that's just to keep it frank. Moving on to the next team, though, I gotta say, this is my favorite. If I could say that about the NFC South, to win this division, and the only reason I can say that this is my favorite is just because I think they got the best quarterback, just off of what we've seen. And that's not saying much because we'll get to some of the other quarterbacks later. But this is the best quarterback that I think that they'll have this year. And I think it'll bring a little bit more confidence in, you know, and explosiveness to this team. Last year they had, Andy Dalton, and that version of Andy Dalton just looked, I just don't want to make a mistake. I just want to let our defense do what they do and try and keep us in things. And, they had Jameis Winston, and that's my dog, but that's a roller coaster in itself. But like I said, hey, if Derek Carr can get to that Derek Carr that he was prior to, breaking his leg and when he was leading the Raiders to the playoffs, this could work. This could be, one of those change of, scenery type things with, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, and stuff like that, where, hey, a change of scenery can help and allow you to take a step, feel comfortable, get a reset, and he's not walking into a bare cupboard. They had Chris Olave. They brought him in. Chris Olave looked really good as a rookie. You had Rashid Shaheed, who's a speedster, and they're looking to give him, more time in that offense. And another thing to me that is a very big question is Michael Thomas healthy? Is he even able to give you 75% of what he once was prior to him being healthy? Because if he can give you that, and then you already have Chris Olave, that gives you a really, really, really great, you know, tandem on the outside and allow you to spread that ball around. And Derek Carr will be willing to push that ball down the field, and you know, he is prone to mistakes sometimes, but what he will do also is he'll push the ball. And having Chris Olave, that allows you to do that. And then you can still have Michael Thomas, running the short to intermediate routes and, getting the short stuff to take it downfield and give you a little bit, of a more explosive plays from that aspect as well. So I don't think that the cupboard is bare. I think that, even though Alvin Kamara, he suspended those 3 games. They did draft Kendre Miller. You have Jamal Williams. So to me, you put yourself in a good place to hold things over until Alvin Kamara gets back. Their defense is still solid. And you bring in Alvin Kamara and say Kendre Miller, starts to look like he did at TCU. We all know how dangerous of just a weapon that Alvin Kamara is. And he can be that pass catcher. He could be that slot receiver. He can be that second running back out of the backfield with Kendre Miller, who can, you know, take that between the tackles punishment, and that just opens up your offense even more. And to me, I think that makes them a lot more dangerous than they have been in the past. Recently in the post Drew Brees era, I'll say. I won't say in the past. I'll just say in the post Drew Brees era, because now it just gives you so many different ways that you can attack every single level of the field, and you have home run hitters that can really make plays in a quarterback that I think will allow you to do so. And so I think to me, the Saints have to be the favorite, kind of, like, just because I think they have the most stability at quarterback, I'll say, which will take me to the next team, who I think is the most volatile and has the largest ranges of outcomes. And to me, I think is a very, very sneaky pick. No, let me not say that. I think it's a very trendy pick to win this NFC South division, because if Bryce Young is who we say he is, well, who they say he is, and who a lot of people think he is, this team could really run away with this division and not make it close, because we've seen their defense. You have Brian Burns, who, shout out to the Knowles, who I think will do some great things. I got that's my college championship pick, but we'll get there. We getting ready for some football. But is Bryce Young truly going to be that day one starter that you feel can come in and win you games? Not necessarily just be somebody who's going to be a game manager, but can he win you games? Can you feel comfortable putting the ball in Bryce Young's hands and taking that moment? And so that's going to be the real thing. And if Bryce Young can do that, if Bryce Young comes in and commands this offense as we've seen him do before in Alabama, if he comes in, and proves that he was worth this number one overall pick, I think that this team could really do something. And I think, a sneaky addition that they made is Adam Thielen. I think Adam Thielen can bring some stability and some comfort to this offense, where he can have someone he can lean on. And Adam Thielen, it's not like he is the Adam Thielen, of old, but he still put up serviceable numbers. I think he still had over 100 targets in Minnesota last year, and I was playing opposite Justin Jefferson, of course. So that's going to make life a lot easier. But I think there is some talent. They brought in Hayden Hurst, and he, we saw what he did in Cincinnati. He can work the middle. He can bring a good spark, and he has some athleticism where he can, be that safety valve. So I think that they have some options. You have, Ike Nkwonu, who looks to be one of those tackles. So, it's possible that they can protect them. He has, a couple weapons. Some of them will need to see some people step up, but I think that they can truly surprise some people on offense. And for me, that defense can be truly scary and cause hell for those people in that division, especially if JC Horn is healthy, man. If JC Horn is healthy, I think that this could be one of the better units in the NFC. And we all know that the NFC isn't an extremely deep conference. So you get in there, who knows? This could be a team that could make a run and really surprise some people with how they finish. So I think the Saints, I would say that they're the favorite, but to me, I think the Carolina Panthers are really, really going to be pushing them to finish first in that division, because I think that Bryce Young, I don't think that he's going to be terrible. And not being terrible will get you a long way in the NFC South. And speaking of not being terrible, let's go to the division winners. Ryan, I hope you still here because what the hell is going on in Tampa Bay, man? Like Baker's your starting quarterback, but we know who Baker is. And because we know who Baker is, I truly don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm going to go a bad thing because look, man, you got Tristan Wirfs, he's moving. You lost Donovan Smith. The O-line already looked a little bit shaky, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm hearing good things about Rachaad White in camp, but is Rachaad White like is he gonna be someone that can hold down, a full workload of running back carries, especially with Baker Mayfield at the helm? We'll see. There is some talent on the defense, but I just think that the offense is gonna put that defense in so many terrible, terrible, terrible situations that it is going to make them look a lot worse than what they really are. And I hear you. Everything that you've been hearing, Trask has been playing well in camp and is pushing Baker for the starting job. The one thing that I've read as well when I was doing some research on the Buccaneers is it really Trask has been playing well, or Trask knows what he needs to do, which I can't hate on. It's a very smart play, but does he know what he needs to do to beat out Baker? And that is just to be safe. And so he's not, trying to make a lot of plays. He's just trying not to mess up. And I don't know if you have the talent on your team to have someone to just come in and be like, "Oh, let me not mess up." That is reserved for some of those teams with, you know, upper echelon defenses where you can just be a game manager, don't mess it up, and you'll get your points. But it is a good way to get a starting job. So who knows? Because like I said, we know what Baker is, and even if Baker wins this job, I don't foresee Baker holding this job for the entire season, regardless how Baker plays, because I think at the end of the day, where things will be for this team, you will need to see what you have in Trask because you'll most likely be getting a fairly decent draft pick, and you need to see if quarterback is on the plate because you need to see what you have in Trask and if Trask can carry that load for you. Um, and yeah, I hear you. Trask is in his third year, and he learned from Brady for two, and Baker has 9 interceptions in camp, and Trask has 1 or 2. And I get that. And that's my point. But sometimes just because you sit behind an all-time great don't mean you will be able to mimic that. It doesn't mean you'll be able to look like a semblance of the person you sat behind, because guess what? That person is great for a reason. Sometimes just because Michael Jordan tells you, hey, when you drive to the lane, you need to go up, under, and come back up on the other side. Not everybody can do that because guess what? Not everybody's Michael Jordan. Not everybody got the vert like Michael Jordan. And it's the same thing with Brady. Brady can say, hey, when you drop back, go ahead and, read where the safety and linebackers see where they, are at the time of the snap. And that tells you exactly where you need to go. Well, some quarterbacks, they can't process that quick. So yeah, Brady can tell you, hey, if the safety, drops from cover 2 and buzzes down, and the linebacker goes into the hook, and that tells you exactly where you need to go on this play. Even though you can hear that, actually applying it, mirroring it to your feet and your arms, and then also in your brain, and being able to feel comfortable throwing that ball into that window and trusting that it's going to be there. Not everybody can do it. So I think that what we'll end up seeing is who's better for this offense. Is it going to be the kind of, high risk, high reward play of Baker Mayfield, or is it going to be the safe play of Kyle Trask? And I just think that that's where it's really going to come down to, and who's going to really take control of this job and maybe finish the season. I don't even know how to put it, because I think, like I said, I truly think Baker Mayfield all is going to start the season. I think Kyle Trask is going to get his shot, but it's really going to come down to how either one of those guys plays to who will finish the season. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Panthers to win this division, just because I live in Charlotte. I think it's gonna be close between the Saints and Panthers. I think the Falcons. I think the Falcons they'll probably be drafting pretty high. I really like Desmond Ritter, but I just don't know if that team has everything that it needs to really start making noise. And I think the Buccaneers are going to win more games than they want to. I don't know if they'll say that in that building, but I'm gonna say it for them. I think that this should be a time where, hey, look, let's go ahead and just see what some of the young guys have. See what some of the young guys have, and we'll get there. Shout out to my guy Sam. What are they missing? Sam, I don't know which team you're talking about. I assume you're talking about the Falcons. So I'm gonna jump right in and say, what are the Falcons missing? I think, like I said, as I touched on earlier, I think the secondary, there's still some weaknesses there. Like running the ball, I believe Arthur Smith is going to run the ball, and so I think that will be a good comfort blanket for that offense. But you will have to pass the ball in Atlanta, and I just don't know that Desmond Ritter has the offensive line to feel comfortable to do that, and I just don't know if he is the quarterback to do it. Like I really wanted Desmond Ritter to succeed. I still hope he succeeds, and I hope Desmond Ritter proves me wrong. But that version of Marcus Mariota that we saw last year, and they were unwilling to throw the ball with him, I just don't know what to expect out of Desmond Ritter, because if you can't beat out that version of Marcus Mariota, it's probably a reason why. And it's kind of nasty, dog. Like, that is kind of nasty. And so that is the NFC South portion of this divisional breakdown. So now let's go to the North. And we're going to do it just like we did. We are going to start with the last place team. And the last place team is the Chicago Bears. And guess what, man? I think the Chicago Bears are much improved. I think the Chicago Bears are going to look a lot better than what they did last year. Is that enough for them to not finish last in this division? Possibly. Possibly. It could, some of these teams in this division could take a step back, because some of these teams, i.e., the Green Bay Packers, who we'll get to, there's some influx going on. There's some other teams that, hey, who knows what can happen. But I really do like what the Chicago Bears did this offseason. And to me, I think that they can come out with a season kind of like one of the trendy picks in this division had last year, where I think the Chicago Bears can look a lot like what the Detroit Lions looked like last year. It's gonna depend on, Luke Getsy's offense and how this offense is really gonna do so, take that next step. But towards the end of the season, they started to let Justin Fields run the ball more. And bro. He when once Justin Fields started doing that, hey, motherfucker started taking off. He had the most, like he was looking like he was in college. He had more 50-yard runs than I've seen, running backs have all year. It felt like it just seemed like every week, oh, Justin Fields breaks another one. And I think the addition of DJ Moore will go a long way. You hear everyone say it. Look at the line of demarcation with Josh Allen when he got Stephon Diggs. I think having someone like DJ Moore who has proved to be, in a sense, quarterback proof that he's going to get his, I think that this allows this wide receiver core, as Hill would say, to be slotted properly. Everyone can actually slot where they need to be. You don't have Chase Claypool and Darnell Mooney out here trying to be number one receivers. Now you have your for sure number one receiver DJ Moore. Chase Claypool, he can be, that big body possession receiver. And then I'm hearing he's actually looking good in camp. You got Darnell Mooney, who seems to have a nice one-handed catch damn near every season. And then you got some, speedsters like Tyler Scott out of Cincinnati, that can really stretch the field and bring in a little bit of a change of pace. And then you got, EQ St. Brown, that's another big body to go out there with Chase too, where it's just like, hey, when in the red zone or when you have some, third and shorts or some, third and needed or whatever, you can go out there with some big bodies like Chase Claypool, Equinemius St. Brown, and even DJ Moore. And I think that proves a problem for a lot of people. And I think with those receiving options paired with the rushing capability of Justin Fields, Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman, and someone who I wanted the Bengals to draft, Roshan Johnson, I think that this is a very, very underrated skill position group. I think that they have some talent. And I think that, now they are going to be able to truly evaluate Justin Fields because to me, it just felt like they were letting them waste away because it didn't seem like a plan. Now it seems like they actually have a plan and they're actually doing something. And like my guy Ryan said, Bears are building something good. The season for them depends on how Fields develops as a passer, really. And I 100% agree. And for all the jokes that people had about Justin Fields, to me, adding some of those weapons and doing certain things, to kind of give him a little bit of a line. Drafting Darnell Wright, who, we have questions about Darnell Wright in the running game, but one of his strengths coming out is pass blocking. They're set with Braxton Jones. Who knows what Tevin Jenkins is going to be with his, injury history. But they did bring in some guys that have some experience to try and solidify the depth of this offensive line. And once again, as we've seen, when you have a quarterback who is, highly mobile like Justin Fields, it can hide some of the dark spots on your offensive line. So I think that this team could actually make some noise because I think that they'll be able to score with some people. Defensively, they brought in Yannick Ngakoue, TJ Edwards, and Tremaine Edmonds. I still have some questions about how consistently they'll be able to get after the passer. Um, but I think, on the back end, I love Jaquan Brisker and Eddie Jackson, sorry. So I think that on the back end, they have some talent. There's some things there. If some of the second year guys that they have and some of maybe a rookie or two could take a step, hey, this team could really surprise some people and could really be a thorn in some people's side. So I think that the Chicago Bears are going to have a very Lions-esque season where they will. Damn, I got a net. Can y'all see that net? Shit tried to land on my nose mid broadcast. But I think the Bears are gonna surprise some people. So I think 7, 8 wins will be on the high end. But even if you win six games this year, I think it's going to be a tough 6 games, and I think the rest of those teams that they play, they're going to put some people on notice, and I think this is going to be a really strong breakout year for my guy Justin Fields. All right, moving on to the team that finished in third place, the Green Bay Packers. And man, this team is very, 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 very hard for me to read because I was extremely high on this defense, and let Hill and Cannon tell it, they will never listen to me again. Hey, look, man. Sometimes, hey, I can't be right all the time because that wouldn't make this shit no fun. So, the Green Bay Packers ushering in a new era. It's the Jordan Love era. And where we start with this Jordan Love era, to me, where it really starts and where it ends is, what is Jordan Love going to be? Will Jordan Love be the quarterback to take the torch from the Green Bay Packers? They had Brett Favre. Then they went right into Aaron Rodgers. Will this be uncharted territory for a lot of these Green Bay fans in this Green Bay organization, where they got to actually start looking for a quarterback again, where they think that they have a quarterback on the roster? And it's very possible because, like I said, if I see the growth in the Chicago Bears, do we believe in, the Lions and Vikings? Where does that leave the Green Bay Packers? And right now, man, they got to show me, yo. After what happened with that Green Bay Packers defense last year, I really need to see it. And I can't just come out here and say, you know what, they'll bounce back. And just like I said with the Buccaneers, hey man, it's a possibility that offense is going to really put that defense back against the wall and make them look even worse than what they are. And so they have some talent. It just all hinges on Jordan Love. We saw some of the guys come out last year, and like Christian Watson, he really took shape and looked like what people expected him to be out of the draft. You have Romeo Doubs, who he was killing in camp last year. He's killing in camp this year. They brought in Luke Musgraves, and goodness, I didn't know how big Luke Musgrave was until I actually saw him in that joint practice against the Bengals. That is going to be a matchup nightmare for teams in the red zone. So we'll see how this team, goes and how they will supplement this team. I predict kind of like that fall off. Well, I won't even say fall off. I think they'll be kind of in that same area that they are last year, maybe lose another game or two, and could be in that 6 games, that 6, 7, 8 game kind of win total. So they'll be competing with the Bears for last place. But in the spirit of discussing the Green Bay Packers, I got to let y'all know what Hill said. Hill said Karen is out the fucking building. You know what I'm saying? Karen gone. People actually going to love playing football. The quarterback on crack ain't there no more. And let me read it verbatim. He said, when y'all get to the Packers, I'm predicting they will have a better record than last season, and Jordan Love will have better numbers than Karen Frogers did last season. And that's kind of a bold statement. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pull up some Aaron Rodgers stats from the 2022 season. And let's just see what Jordan Love would have to do to top Aaron Rodgers. He would have to complete 65% of his passes. He'd have to throw for 3,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, and around 12 interceptions. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. But what I will say, although those numbers are down numbers for Aaron Rodgers, still some pretty decent numbers for some quarterbacks, man. You know what I mean? 3,700 yards on 65% completion percentage. I don't know if I can say he'll have better passing numbers, but I will say Jordan Love's running ability will allow him to have a safety blanket. It will allow him to be able to bail himself out of sticky situations. So we shall see. But I think that even if he comes close to those numbers, I don't know the impact that it'll have, just because I don't know what this defense is going to look like, because I don't trust them. Because y'all made me look bad last year, god damn it. And I ain't having that shit no more. But the team that knocked the goddamn Packers out of the playoffs, everybody's darling, the team that everybody's loving, the Detroit Lions. Let's get to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions finished 9-8 last year. Their season was done. The only thing that they were playing for last year was to keep their division rivals, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, out of the playoffs and send Aaron Rodgers packing. Caused a whole bunch more turmoil over there. Sent my man into the dark, and now he gone. But, man, you kind of just got to root for Dan Campbell, man. I truly think that this is going to be the team that wins that division. I think Ben Johnson is going to look comfortable. I mean, Ben Johnson is going to have Jared Goff even looking more comfortable than he did last year. I think now they know what they have in Amon-Ra St. Brown. They still have one of the better offensive lines in the game. And then you bring in, David Montgomery and pair him with a Jahmyr Gibbs, who looks fast as shit. That's exactly what you brought him in for. I didn't expect him to bring him in that high, but that's exactly what you bring him in for, to do that. And then having David Montgomery doesn't prohibit you from having him on the field alongside him. Doesn't prohibit him from that damn net. It doesn't stop what you want to do, and it allows you to work him in. And I think that they brought in some guys like Marvin Jones Jr., Josh Reynolds, and then you have Denzel Mims, kind of like a flyer. But you also have someone like Khalif Raymond, out of Tennessee, who brings a level of speed also. So I think the wide receiver core is not scary, but we saw what it did last year. Wide receiver core wasn't, something that would, scare you last year, but, it did it. And hey, Jameson Williams, once he comes off from suspension, who knows what this team can be? You know what I mean? So that's going to be like a midseason trade once you get Jameson Williams back. So I think that this team offensively, this is one of those teams, like, I think that they're in for a record jump. And I think that they'll kind of take the place of the Vikings and what the Vikings did in this division and be one of those, comfortable double-digit win teams. Speaking of the Vikings, I definitely think the Vikings are going to take a step back, but I do like what they did. I know that sounds a little bit counterproductive and kind of like I'm going against myself. They get that full season with TJ Hawkinson. They brought in Jordan Addison to play that role opposite of Justin Jefferson, which is going to put him in a very, very great position to have a breakout rookie campaign. But it's just something about this team, man. Like I'm just not sold. Like there's some guys on this offensive line. Christian Darrisaw, Ezra Cleveland came in, a little bit later on. You got Brian O'Neill, who's a solid right tackle. But I just don't know if this team is going to be able to protect Kirk and allow Kirk to not whittle away in the big moments. This team had, they gave you those numbers where this team had all these, great one score victories. But it's the same thing that, Hill and I talked about with the Bengals previously was sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way like it did in the previous season. And so I think this could possibly be one of those cases where when you play in the Bills, is Justin Jefferson going to make, great catches of course, but are you going to win those games? I can't remember. I was in the car. I think I was in the car with Hill and somebody, and Dalvin Cook like just had like a 60-yard screenplay in overtime or some shit like that. Like, will that happen? I'm not sure. I do like Brian Flores taking over this defense, but is it going to be an immediate impact in year one? It's a very big possibility because Brian Flores is a really, really great defensive coordinator. But will it match the talent that they have? They still have an aging Harrison Smith back there. They brought in some draft picks. They brought in I'm real UC biased because they don't get the love. But man, Ivan Pace was a dog. They got Jordan Hicks. Can he stay healthy? Who knows? Danielle Hunter, they restructured, gave him an extra, couple $100 million or however you want to say it. There's some guys on this defense, but is it enough? I don't think so. And to me, that's why I think that they'll take a step back. So I'm going Lions. I think Lions actually run away with this division. I think they do it comfortably. And I think the Lions get into the playoffs. And the way that the NFC set up, guess what, man? I think the Lions can get them a playoff victory. So, with that being said, I got the Lions, got the Vikings, I have the Packers and the Bears in the NFC North. And so, with that, that is our NFL divisional roundup. NFC. God damn it. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. That is our NFC North and NFC South divisional roundup. And we'll be back next week with a couple more divisions. Hey, we got us a Virginia Tech guy. Hey, man. Y'all staying in the ACC? Y'all gonna stay behind? Virginia Tech gonna stay behind in the ACC? Because Florida State getting the hell up out of there. Because look, we need that money because we got championships to worry about. But for Cannon, for Hill, I'm AJ. We are the 3-Man Weave podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at 3manweave_. Join the Facebook group. That's what I forgot to say earlier. Join the Facebook group at 3-Man Weave Podcast on Facebook. All types of sports banter, music talk, shit talking, scenarios, whatever. It's all in there. We in there having fun, doing everything. And football season is when the group really comes alive to have some fun. So come out, join, add your friends, tell everybody about us. Let's build this community up. And for all of those who are looking to order merch, podcast.3.man.weave@gmail.com to place your orders. And I was supposed to put the list in the chat, but hey, man, I got caught up. It's only me. So I will put it in the group today, and I will add everyone with the email address and everything that you need to make your order. And for that, shout out to the Fours. Thank y'all for pulling up. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Ryan. Love y'all. We out.